Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you'd be fine. This is Miss Sidra Kashif representing MSK Linguistic Center from Pakistan, Karachi, being a moderator, proprietor, plus EFL and IELTS instructor. It's my honor to have Miss Karen Livecchia from South Korea. She is IELTS and TOEFL specialist. We are going to discuss about the topic educational curriculum, methodology, implementation, and advancement. I hope this topic would be really fruitful to all of you, whether you are a language teacher or any other relevant teacher for any of the subjects or languages, because it's not only about languages or something specific, but it's all about curriculum implementation and advancement. So let's be connected. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Warm
Hello,
welcome to you.
Sidra, and hello to everybody out there from wherever they are around the world. I am located here in Busan, South Korea, which is the second largest city on the peninsula, and I've been here just about 4 years now, and teaching in a private academy and doing some educational consulting on the side. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Interesting. It's our pleasure to have you for a very relevant topic as per your specialty.
Okay, let's get started. How may I share a screen with you?
Ma'am, I think it's a little challengeable here. It's a live podcast to share
Uh,
your screen.
okay, so no sharing the screen, is that right?
If there is an option, you can try.
Okay, that sounds fine. I can do that. If there's no option, then I will just look at my slides.
Okay,
Okay.
as convenient to you.
Okay. All right. So I don't see a slide share option, so I'm just going to go ahead and look at my slides and just
Hmm.
speak from them. Okay? Is that okay with everybody? I hope so.
As you are comfortable.
Okay, excellent. Let's do that.
Okay,
All
shall we
right. So
start?
again, can you see me okay?
No, no, I can't see you right now.
Okay. Can you see, and you can't see my slides?
No, I can't see.
Cannot see. Okay. Um, all right then. Let's go back.
It's okay, ma'am. You can look there and elaborate.
Great. Okay, I will do that then. Thank you very much. All right. Well, welcome again. Thank you for the invitation. This is all about educational curriculum methodology, implementation, and advancement. Basically, this is for educators, instructors, beginning curriculum designers, academy owners, and institutional administration within any kind of educational institution. And a little bit about me. Again, I am based in Busan, South Korea. I've been in Korea since 2018. I used to live in Seoul. And then during the pandemic, I did my own independent consulting and teaching before I came to Busan 4 years ago. I teach TOEFL, which is Test of English as a Foreign Language, the IELTS, which is the British version of the TOEFL. I also teach English for academic purposes, and I do some curriculum consulting on the side. What I am is a very, very experienced practitioner. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I've got a lot of experience with education, content development, 15 plus years experience. I also, before I even started teaching, I had a career in independent publishing in New York City, where I'm from. And I've also been a TOEFL and IELTS
Interesting.
program instructor.
Really nice to hear about you, ma'am. The thing
Yes.
is that, sorry to say, we can't just look at you. You are not visible.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know how I'm going to do this then. I've never been on StreamYard before. I'm usually used to working on Zoom. So let me see if I can do a split screen. I don't know if that's going to
Hmm.
work either. So, hmm. Okay. Thanks for your patience while we do the technical stuff. Can you see me now? Can you see me? No?
Yeah, I can see you right now.
Okay.
Now
But
it's
now
fine.
you, okay, now it's fine. Okay. Can you see me now?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. Because I've got the slides open now.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
better to go without slides. It's okay. It's all about questions, and you are supposed to give answers.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. I put the slides together. If anybody's interested, they can email me. I'll just close the presentation.
Yeah, that will do.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, if anybody has any questions about curriculum development and implementation, that would be fine. I'd be happy to answer any questions if people can put them in the chat. I'm not sure how many people are here, but I see that the chat is open. So feel free to ask me any questions. Basically, I think that curriculum design is a very hot topic, especially with AI, ChatGPT, and the like, as well as implementation, which can be a challenge no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in your home country or whether you're a foreign instructor in a completely different culture like me. I'm an American living here in Korea. And, there's a lot of very standardized curriculums, obviously the IB curriculum, et cetera. But, curriculum here in Korea, and I can't say definitively across the region, but I could certainly say Japan, obviously Korea, into China, and somewhat in Turkey, vary greatly. And yeah, the implementation is very, very tricky, especially if you're in a large institution with very traditional, I'll just speak from the Korean perspective, Korean instructors, as well as you're trying to mix in either American and or British instructors, because everybody's got a different idea of what it is to teach. So I know that here in Korea, there's two sides to education. It's the very traditional Korean public school system. And then there, of course, is the greater ecosystem, as we call it, of the Hagwons or private academies, like the one where I work. And there can be very standardized levels of curriculum in public schools, but it varies tremendously in the Hagwon or academy system. It really depends on where you go. I also think too, I mean, I live in a very wealthy area of Busan, and I also lived in a very wealthy area of Seoul, and they could afford traditional curriculum development using Western curriculum developers, but that's not true everywhere. I think it depends on what school system you're in. And
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, the big international schools have their own curriculum. They usually follow the IB curriculum here in Korea. But I know in the academy system, it's really what we call catch as catch can. Some have curriculum that they develop in-house. When I first started working in Seoul, I worked with kindy and elementary students, and they had their own, what I call a homegrown learning system. But even that was not what I had been used to in previous curriculums that I've used. And of course, in the academy system, you may have a traditional standard curriculum, or you may have something that's very independently designed by each teacher. It really does depend upon the management. So, and of course, with Korea's population declining year by year, it's very hard to fill seats, and academy owners are stretched thin in terms of their finances and financing. And there's in areas that are not as wealthy as say Marine City, where I am. It's a matter of going out and finding things on the internet or copying from textbooks that other teachers have brought into the system. So it's not a really organized system. Luckily, I think that the academy system, for the most part, in Korea has very strong curriculum, but again, it can vary in terms of strength and quality. So if anybody has any questions at, at any point, that'd be great. I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions. What else can I tell you? It's a very, in terms of the academic curriculum here, if you're in the academy system, the private academy system, meaning the after school, it can be very textbook heavy, and the textbooks are sometimes not always aimed at the student's level. Sometimes we pick textbooks, when I say we, administrators or academy owners will pick textbooks that they think are solid, but not terribly geared toward, the level and the age that we're teaching. So it can be very difficult especially for foreign instructors who have a lot of experience with different types of curriculum. And I can say that, every academy is different. Some academies are part of national chains, and some are private. It's only one, like ours, and it's very exclusive, and the price is very high. So parents will expect a very tailored curriculum depending upon what we're teaching. I teach TOEFL, and I've developed TOEFL curriculum for our academy. I also teach English for academic purposes, and it's very, very challenging because each student has completely different needs. If you go into a Korean public school or even kind of a lower level private academy, even if it's part of a national chain, in other parts of Korea, the SEFR level or the English proficiency level can be quite a bit lower. But I've been very fortunate here in Marine City because we have students that have either lived in the United States or in Canada or in the UK or in Western European countries. So they come in with a much higher level of proficiency, and we could tailor a program or a curriculum to
That
them.
sounds good.
Yeah. So it really does depend where you go. I know in China, it's kind of a gamble because you've got so many students. You've got in some places, an overcrowding problem. There are high schools that I've seen in my travels in China where you've got 3,000 or 4,000 students. So you have to have a standardized curriculum, but many of them only have a half curriculum or a curriculum that's not really aimed at, solid learning objectives. Sometimes there can be, there's varying schools of thought, especially for younger learners. If you're doing the kindy level or elementary level, that the learning should be fun, but there's the entertainment side of the teaching, making it interesting, making it active, making it relevant, and then there's the mindset of we need to teach, we need to teach something that's rather traditional. There's not a lot of thinking outside the box in Korea. I think it's a cultural thing. You don't get a ton of creative thinking. Even critical thinking skills are sometimes on the lower end because it's very much it's rather a traditional teaching culture. The way that they train teachers in this country, in my experience, having known both Hagwon teachers or academy teachers as well as elementary school teachers, that it's just as hard to get into a good educational college or graduate program as it is to become a doctor in this country. So teaching is serious and it's for real, but you can never truly escape culture.
Hmm. Indeed. Ma'am, I have few questions. If you allow me, shall I ask
Sure.
you?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the curriculum measurement, that how to ensure the quality of curriculum development. It's a
Right,
kind of
right. Right. I think SEFR levels should be used, Bloom's taxonomy. If you're going to develop curriculum, you can use, kind of a backward method where you look for, where you're thinking about what's the goal, what needs to be learned here, the target language for that goal, and then develop curriculum from there. I will tell you that as strong as the educational system here is in Korea, it's very much based on grammar and vocabulary rather than reading or speaking or writing skills. And that's where the private academies come into play. So we get a lot of students who are very strong readers, but they maybe lack the listening skills that they need. And I think tying together meaningful input, rich, meaningful input, and then tying that together with, the listening skills can be very, very powerful. But, I mean, in my time here in Korea, which has been almost 6 years now, I have seen speaking teachers and speaking curriculum vary greatly, as well as writing curriculum. Students aren't generally as strong, even in the most expensive programs in international education here in Korea. And I know it varies wildly in China, where I taught online English for academic purposes during the pandemic. I mean, in my experience, having taught for some time, it was actually a shock to see how little students in China knew about writing in English, even though that they were in English-rich programs where English was used between obviously the instructor and the students, but also among the students and in all English-speaking, sections of a high school or a middle school in China. But I can't be too critical, Sidra, because I think we all know that, China is a developing nation. So, yeah, we have to give them a break, I guess. I think, they're, they're getting themselves together on several levels.
It is. Okay, let's move towards another question. It's
Hmm.
all about that which thing should be noticed to hire any teacher for curriculum development or implementation. Which things
Well,
are mandatory to
mm,
know?
well, you obviously want deep and wide experience, someone who's intellectually curious, someone who understands Bloom's taxonomy, who understands the rubrics involved with speaking and writing, also with reading and listening. I would think you would want somebody that was, I mean, I suppose this goes without saying, but you'd want somebody um, who understood what it was like to be a teacher. Teachers can be the best curriculum developers. I see a lot of teachers who want to become curriculum developers, and also curriculum developers who've not done any teaching or very, very little teaching. They've done teaching and then they say, no, I don't want to be in the classroom. I'm going to develop curriculum. I think those two things go together, you know, without saying. So I think you've got to find somebody who's, a bit of a rare bird. I think you would want to hire somebody who had been a teacher in the classroom, not administration, not just hiring teachers, not just supervising a school, but actually on the ground with students face to face. Because teacher involvement in curriculum design is key, which is something that we don't necessarily
Yeah.
have in Asia.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, it is. Because the teacher who already experienced, she
mm,
would better know relevant to it that how to implement ideas, how to
right,
develop curriculum. It's all about the
exactly,
experience, personal
exactly.
experience.
Yeah. It would be great to have on staff curriculum developers, but a lot of school systems and academies can't afford that. So they go off to the big companies like Pearson and, all of the big players, Cengage, and they look for, they look for a ready-made curriculum, and it's not it's
It's
not a
not
one
long
size fits
lasting.
all.
It doesn't work, I think so, as compared to the
Right,
teacher made,
right.
the
And
experienced one.
And also, just as an additional point, the academy that I worked in Seoul was part of a relatively small chain. They had 8 branches, and they had their own system, but they never really consulted teachers, and they certainly didn't just consult foreign teachers who are natives of English. So you'd look at a curriculum and you'd see pieces that were missing, or a very narrow curriculum, or something that was way too broad. And also, we would actually, in the materials, find awkwardness, or in some cases, outright errors. So they would ask us, would you review this curriculum for $1 a page? You know, so it really does depend. It really does depend. I would think most academy owners would want to go with a ready-made curriculum and go out and buy a learning system, but I don't think that works.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mhm. Yes. Anybody
Okay.
have any questions out there in the live broadcast? Thank you so much for your patience with the tech. I thought I would be able to share a screen, and I put together some slides, but I do have a
I have a
PDF for the slides.
I
Sure.
have a question. Yeah. It's all about that. What are some ways to train teachers or educators? What are some effective ways?
Well, there's many, many effective ways to train teachers. I would think, I mean, there's the theory, you go off to a graduate program to become a teacher, and then you get licensed if you're in the United States. I don't know what it's like for the rest of the world. But I think pilot programs for young teachers can be really, really helpful. I think having a mentor teacher is really helpful. Teachers who are partnered up with curriculum developers who don't have teaching experience, the curriculum developers, or very little teaching experience. And I mean, I think it's also important for teachers, and this is the hard part because everyone is stretched so thin in and out of the classroom, to have maybe a set amount of time together or a scheduled amount of time together where we look over the curriculum, we look for different resources and textbooks and websites and any kind of online learning materials that might work as across the board as possible. But that's the really, really tricky part because academy teachers are under a great deal of pressure, especially here in Korea. Yeah, so there's not always time to do that. So sometimes teachers are teaching from different sets of material, even though the learning goals or the learning objectives are very similar. Yeah. And also, there's that mixed level of teachers. A lot of academies have very, very young staff. They come right out of college, or they're maybe they're mid to late 20s and they're trying out teaching overseas. They're not, they're not somebody who's got 20 years experience in the classroom. So that can be tricky too. There's, and of course there's, the range of quality. Some teachers come to Korea and they think they want to be teachers in their career when they go back to the United States or Canada or the UK or wherever. And then, some are like, I have a graduate degree and this is my first serious job overseas. So you get various levels of experience, various levels of career interest, and that, yeah, that has a big impact on quality. The types
Hmm.
of materials that they use, how much they understand about, what it is like to stand up in front of a class and engage students.
Hmm. Ma'am, what's your perspective relevant to cramming system and critical thinking? What would you like to say about it?
Oh, that's such a big question. Again, as far as the academy system in Korea, there are the what we call cram schools, and then there are academies like ours that really do prep students for college admissions in the US and Canada, and sometimes the UK. We actually do a lot of test prep. We do a lot of test prep for TOEFL and for IELTS and for any kind of written assessments. I have a number of students who are going off to prestigious preparatory schools in the US, and they need to provide not just a writing sample, but an actual real live set of writing materials that they've, assignments that they've taken on. We do a lot of work that's project based, which is really important. And it has to be relevant to the outside world. And it also has to be relevant to students' lives. So in the winter intensives and the 8-week summer intensive at this particular academy where I teach now, we do a lot of project-based work where we get students up on their feet. They do a lot of research. They actually work together. They work together with me, and then they work in teams with each other. So, it
About
keeps it from being
collaboration
rote.
to
A
give them
lot of
environment.
collaboration, right.
Hmm.
Collaboration is key because when they get to that fancy prep school in the US, or they go off to college in the US, or Canada, they're going to be expected to not just have a book-based knowledge, a textbook-based knowledge of English. They're going to be expected to be able to jump into a discussion group or jump into a project or, interact solely in English without the support of their native language.
Hmm.
Does that answer your question? It's a big, big question that you're asking. Um, yeah, I think it's all about critical thinking,
Hmm.
which I've seen an uptick in several years here. But when I first got here, it was very much what we call by the book. It was like, here's the vocabulary list, here's the reading passage, and, memorize it. So we memorize a lot of vocab here, but can't really use it effectively in our writing. Or when we see it in a reading passage, we know the definition, but do we know the usage within the passage? Do we understand the usage within the passage and how it affects the rest of the sentences, around it? So that can be really, really tricky. It's
Hmm.
a challenge for
That is.
sure.
Hmm. Okay, ma'am. Is there any internship opportunities for language teachers in Korea? Not only for language teachers, for teachers, and which things are required for this purpose?
I'm not that familiar with how programs work. I know that there are teaching positions for beginning teachers in Korean public schools, but again, it varies greatly. I know that as far as the private academy system, there are no internships. As far as I know, there may be internships for teachers at international schools, but it really would depend on the international school program itself. If they allowed, maybe in an online forum, getting a teacher that had just come out of a graduate education program. But for the private academy system, no, you actually have to go in as a full-fledged teacher. Yeah. So
Hmm.
you have to be one of two things, actually three things. The first one is, especially in Korea, you have to be one of the 7 member countries. So that would be the US, the UK, Canada, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa.
Countries.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
if you're not from those 7 member countries, you can't get a teaching visa here, not even as a freelancer, which is very rare to be a freelance teacher outside of, a traditional foreign instructor visa. And
That's really
yeah,
informative.
yeah, I don't know about the rest of Asia. I know that there are some pilot programs in Japan, but they're already fighting for students because the birth rate is even lower in Japan than it is here in Korea.
Hmm.
So there's not a ton of hiring going on as far as I know in Japan. There's a ton of hiring going on in China, but that's such a massive market that they'll take any kind of teachers, right out of a TOEFL program, some even without TOEFL training, which I think is a mistake.
Hmm. What
It
about
doesn't,
Asian countries?
meaning Singapore or, you know, those countries. I'm not very familiar with them. I know Singapore runs on the British system, and Hong Kong runs on the British system, and in China, in Vietnam, you tend to get American curriculum, but sometimes British curriculum. It really does depend. So it's very, very varied, and of course, each culture is radically different, even though they're under the umbrella of Asian cultures.
Hmm. Are you familiar with scholarship opportunities in Korea, South Korea?
In what respect? For teachers who want to come and study here?
Yeah, for teachers or for students. Or
I would think that, I mean, I'm not aware of any. The top education colleges or colleges that train teachers are mostly seeing Koreans coming into it. And I'm sure that
not
there are
only
scholarship
teachers, but
opportunities.
students to get enrolled in South Korean universities. Is there any
Oh,
chance?
Oh, sure, of course. Yeah, I mean, I actually was doing a little bit of consulting last winter with a university not too far from where I am here in Marine City, and there were students there from places like Turkmenistan and Russia and mostly the Eastern Bloc countries. And some of those students were there. Some were Turkish. Yeah, and they said that they had offered opportunities for students to do, to apply for scholarships and be part of pilot programs. So,
Hmm.
but that was not really an academic college. That was more of a trade school college.
Okay.
Yeah, more of a trade school environment. So, I think that would probably, be a good Google search. I'm not very well versed in what it's like because, I mean, I have a college degree from an Ivy League school in the US, as well as a master's degree from a big city university, a big urban university. I have a TOEFL certificate, and I also have, extra training within that TOEFL program in TOEFL IELTS as well as business English. So I did not go to a traditional US university education program.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Mm.
Could you please elaborate relevant to overall feedback relevant to our topic, educational curriculum, methodology, implementation, and advancement? In short way, what would you like to say?
I would like to see richer, more dynamic curriculum. I'd like to see um, less copycat curriculum. I like the IB curriculum, but I think it overwhelms students. I think there's a real opportunity especially in China, with younger teachers coming into the mix to create, dynamic, relevant, content-rich learning experiences for students, not just a set of textbooks and flashcards, which I've certainly seen before.
Yeah,
Are
it's
there,
all about
anybody have any questions?
experiments. To
I'm
do
sorry.
experiments. It's all about critical
Exactly.
thinking, collaboration to do experiments. Just get rid of books. Just let
Right.
it as we have been studying for a number of years from books. Now we just have to let
Mm,
them rather than searching in books. We have to be creative. It's all about AI, and we don't
absolutely.
have to rely on AI as well. We should be
Mm,
really creative to research on the things and use our brain or
absolutely.
mind to
I think
develop
that's
a curriculum.
absolutely. I think it's true for curriculum developers, for instructors and teachers, as well as for those in administration. I think
Hmm.
it's got to be a team effort. I think you really, at the core of it, should be teacher input. That's really,
Hmm.
really important. But I think we do have to go
Books
beyond
are really
beyond the
important.
textbook.
We don't have to neglect it, but we have
Mm,
to research. After researching, then we have to use our ideas. I think so.
I agree. Yeah,
We
I agree.
mentioned that we don't have to be copycat.
Right, right. I've seen a lot of copycat materials, oh, this works for one set of students, it must work for another set of students, and that's not necessarily true. But again, everyone is pressed for time and money and, just plain energy, because the school, the
Money is
education
not
system here,
everything.
exactly, it's very demanding. It's very demanding on a lot of levels. So, yeah, I think it will be baby steps to get there.
Hmm. Every student's time is really precious, and if the student or the parents rely on you, then it's your responsibility to give your best to provide the authentic curriculum for
Oh,
the
I
teachers
agree.
especially.
Yes,
That
absolutely. Absolutely agreed
I
wholeheartedly on
believe
that.
this thing.
Good. Any other questions for me?
uh, it's been really nice session with you, ma'am. Is there any
Uh,
feedback?
Thank you very much, Sidra. Thank you so much for extending this information or this invitation so I can provide some information, give some background. Again, I'm not an expert, but I am a solid practitioner and I've taught a number of different kinds of curriculums and developed my own. So I know how challenging it is for everybody across the board in education. Thank you for your
Hmm.
time.
My pleasure, ma'am. It's been really great time with you. We'll see you with the next topic soon in
Okay.
future.
Thank you. I look forward to that.
I hope it's been really fruitful to our viewers too,
Yes,
to
I hope
just
so.
get to know about the insights of curriculum development, especially for the teachers.
And
Okay,
again,
ma'am.
just to reiterate, I do have a PDF of the slides I was going to present today. So if anybody's interested in that, Sidra, I'll send them to you. And if you want to share them, that's fine. And anybody who wants to get in touch with me by email or on WhatsApp, they are more than welcome to do so. You can come and visit me at LinkedIn. If you've copied my name down, I'm out on LinkedIn. I have a full profile. If anybody wants to connect and chat, I'd be happy to do that.
Sure, ma'am. Okay, take care.
Okay. Thank you very
Once
much. Have a
again,
good week,
I'm
everybody.
really grateful to you to join my live podcast.
You are very, very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Likewise. Okay, take care.